All right, I want to talk about how HF fits into your team comms plan, your homestead comms, your guerrilla comms, whatever you want to call it. All right, these are basically just consider these line of sight radio. Once someone's out of sight, you're probably not going to be able to communicate with them. Terrain dependent. If you're in a thick wooded forest, it really eats up your RF signal, so you may only get a mile out of these. I've got 25 miles out of them, really with low power, no problem. But that's because I'm a completely open area and I could see line of sight. I could actually see where we were transmitting to. So that's, really terrain dependent, but for the most part, consider them line of sight. At some point, you're not going to have comms with these, right? So that's where the HF comes in. It's not necessarily for making 500 and 1,000-mile contacts in this context, right? For team comms, guerrilla comms, your homestead. I'm sure everybody who's watching this has some people that live 30 miles away. All right, or part of their team's 30 miles away or whatever, but more than 5 miles. Not very many people have everyone within 4 or 5 miles of them. That's where the HF comes in. An example is I live here off grid. I have family members that are 20 miles away as the crow flies, but I have a 9,000-foot mountain in between us and them. I would need an HF radio with an Invis antenna using 40, 60, 80, or 120 meters. Invis antenna is just a simple dipole at 10 feet, and they would have the same setup. We'd be on the same frequency, and we could have comms. We're not relying on anybody else's infrastructure, just our own 2 radios and our own 2 antennas. And I have plenty of videos you can watch. All my videos of doing direct contacts back to the home the home station is exactly that. That's what that context of those videos are. All right. So that's where this comes in. Now, if you want to go repeater route, don't use local repeaters. Build your own. Have your own repeater setup. This thing here will do crossband repeat, and then it'll single frequency DMR repeater, right? Put your own repeater, set it up, have a solar system set up to it to keep it charged up, and use your own system. Don't rely on your local repeaters. Someone else owns them. You don't control it. So we want to try to stay as much as possible off anyone else's infrastructure. So that's another option you can do. Really, they're about the same price. For the most part. This might be a little bit more, but when I put all this other stuff together, it's pretty close to the same amount. So, but that's where the HF fits in. Like I said, it's not necessarily for making 1,000-mile contacts, because none of those people are going to help you. But an Invis setup here with HF, everyone who's part of your team have an Invis setup at their homes. You will have comms that won't be reliant on any other infrastructure but your own.